So there are people listening to us right now. You are a diamond or diamond in the rough. But what allows you to reach your full potential is the environment. Every diamond is put into a setting. And in that setting, we begin to understand the color, the carat, the cut, right, of the diamond. And as we begin to understand the setting or the environment, as the light hits it, as strife and worry and things that happen in life hits that diamond, it shines from the inside out.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to When the Moment Chooses You. I am your host, Coach Charlene, and I am very excited that I have Simon T. Bailey in the house. So welcome to the show, Simon. So I wanted to hear if you had a couple of moments that you could share with us that would inspire us too.
Yeah. One of the moments that sticks out for me is I was working for Disney at the time, and I was in Paris. I had just designed a leadership program on behalf of Disney for 1,000 leaders out of Barclays Bank out of London. And Lion King had just come out, and I'm on stage sharing this program. And I said, remember who you are. You are more than what you have become, which is one of the famous lines in the movie. And some people came up to me afterward and they said, we had goosebumps the entire time you were talking. And it's not from the air condition. And what I recognize is I had tapped into something that I had walked away from well over a decade or so ago. And I went back to my hotel room that night in Paris and I asked myself three questions. What would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? What would I do if no one paid me to do it? What makes me come alive? And that third question came out of a book that I was reading at the time. And it's the quote from the philosopher Howard Thurman. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive, because what the world needs are people who come alive. And Coach, it was like the 4th of July fireworks went off in me because I said, I want to speak, write, train, consult, and coach. And what I recognize is when it is time for you to own the moment, you will come to a place of frustration. And frustration is a gift because it is that invitation that says your season has ended where you are, and you are being invited into a greater reality that would unleash the next dimension of your potential. So your potential is not released on the level that you are on, because that's the familiar. Your potential is released in a new dimension where it's unfamiliar, where you don't know what you don't know, but you begin to trust the process and you stop looking through the rear view mirror of where you've been and you look through the windshield of where you're going. And when you own that moment creates momentum. And momentum creates monumental results. Reverse engineer. Monumental results come from the momentum, and the root word of momentum is moments.
That frustration, I call it the unrest, not able to sleep really good because there's something calling you. There's something trying to get you to move into it. And so with what you just said, how do people move past that barrier of wanting to do something, but trying to stay comfortable? Any ideas on that?
Number one, pay attention to what continues to cause unrest in your soul. Okay. When I say unrest in your soul, it's the tap on the shoulder that gets you out of bed in the wee hours of the morning. You go to the refrigerator, you open the refrigerator and you close it back, not taking anything out of the refrigerator, because it's not as if you were hungry or thirsty. The hunger or thirst is in the core of your soul. So as you are paying attention to what's coming up, number one. Number two, your dreams. Dreams are sneak previews of a coming attraction. So what are you dreaming about? What are you imagining? And somebody might be listening and say, Simon, I don't dream or imagine. Well, hold on. Are there times throughout the day where you daydream about something else? That's a sneak preview of what's coming up in your spirit and in your soul. And then the third thing is to take time at the end of the day and just reflect. How did I grow today? And the moment you
Mm.
stop asking that question, you stop living because growth is
Wow.
about moving into the future. So when I ask myself, how did I grow today? It could just be one micro step, one idea you learned, you saw, you listened, you felt, you heard, you were a part of, and you grew a little bit better than the day before. The moment you stop growing in a place, that is the time to assess, what else can I do?
Mm. Okay, wow, that's really powerful. I'm wondering, Simon, how did you? I mean, you're a absolute trailblazer, change agent, and all those other words for that. But how did you transition from doing what you were doing to, that moment where you said, "Okay, no, I'm going to be a speaker. I'm going to be a writer." Like, how was that transition for you?
Yeah, the first thing is I began to share with the mother of my children that I was sensing this time to make a move. And when I left Disney 20 years ago, our country's going to war with Iraq for the second time. Corporations were laying off by the hundreds of thousands, and everyone at Disney said, "You are crazy. You are leaving. What are you doing?" But here's why I left. She said to me, "Whatever you decide to do, I'm with you." And when I knew
Mm.
that we were on the same page and that we were one at the time, Daniel was 4, Madison was 18 months old. Daniel's now
Mm.
24, Madison's 21. And I said, okay, she's with me. So I turned down uh, 4 job offers, just turned them down, said, nope,
Wow.
I got to go for this because I didn't want to live with the pain of regret of wondering,
Mm.
why didn't I? So, number one, I had to make sure I was aligned with my spouse, mother, and my children. The second thing is I recognized I looked at my age, and I'll never forget a conversation I had with one of my mentors, a gentleman named Tudor Bismarck, who lives in Harare, Zimbabwe.
Oh.
And uh,
Mhm.
he said to me, I was having dinner with him almost 15 years ago in Zimbabwe. And he said to me, "Do you have a strategic life plan?" And I said, "Why do I need a strategic life plan?" He says, "Because in 10 years, you will be 10 years older, but will you be better?" Huge epiphany
Ooh.
for me. And I said, oh my goodness. So being better is not doing this big thing out here. It's about every single day getting better in here. One little micro step to get better. That became the catalyst for me harnessing how I began to make that transition and to do the work that I'm doing now. And I think probably the third thing is I decided to get up an hour earlier than I normally would, and I would spend that hour working on the future me. And in that
Mm.
hour, I would meditate, I would write, and I would do something. And what I discovered, a little becomes a lot over a long period of time. It's breaking it down, it's chunking it down. So, point in case, I'm trying to lose 10 pounds. And what I've been doing over the last 30 days is every day I get up and I walk. I got in almost 8,000 steps today, according to my Fitbit. I then came and did a 7-minute exercise.
The last 3 years, with the double pandemic, our own personal pandemic, a lot of people experience such burnout and trauma and loss and all of those adjectives. How did you make it through that? Because I'm listening to you speak, and this has been your life. This is the way that you live. How did that, how you are now, help you through the pandemic, or did you still have major challenges as well?
In the spirit of full disclosure, I was probably more bitter than better at the beginning of the pandemic. And
Hmm.
I binged on eating and binged on Netflix and did all of the things that uh, I encourage people to do, but to do it in moderation. I went overboard. And then I had a moment where I had to stop crying over spilled milk. I had to stop feeling sorry for almost 7 figures worth of business disappearing, contracted business disappearing in 7 days. And living with the woe is me of after being married for 25 years, went through a divorce, just got remarried, two kids in college, uh, paying alimony. It's real, right? And then
Yeah.
right before that time, had got diagnosed with prostate cancer. Thank goodness I'm over it. Did all my work. I am clean and free. But what I recognize is, do I stay bitter or do I get better? And what I started to do is to eat my own cooking. So I had
Mm.
to take, as my friend Kathy Romero would say, I had to take my meds. I had to meditate, exercise, diet, and sleep. I'm going to say that again for everyone listening. Meditate, exercise, diet, and sleep. So what I was doing, Coach, is I was taking control of the steering wheel of uncertainty instead of being driven by the backseat
Yes.
passengers of stress, fear, anxiety, and depression. And I
Yes.
recognized no one was coming to save me. And I had to return to, for me, prayer is everything. So I had to return to building my faith in prayer and saying, okay, God, I don't know where this is going, but I so trust you to get me
Mm.
through. And that's how I was able to come out of the nosedive and to find
Yeah. Yeah.
altitude again.
Oh my
One day
gosh,
at a
that's
time. One
amazing.
day at a
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. I noticed, and I know, and I'd love for you to talk to us about all of your different books. But I'm starting to, I'm kind of almost at the end of releasing your brilliance. But I noticed that you talk about the diamond
Yes.
a lot in that particular book, and so I'm just wondering did you pick the diamond
So,
in
yeah,
particular?
my mentor said to me a number of years ago, you weren't born to fit in, you were born to be brilliant. And I
Mm.
said to him, I said, how can you say that? He said, you're stuck in your mind and your body thinking the pigmentation of your skin limits you. And I am here to tell you that you weren't born to fit in, you're born to be brilliant. And when he said it, it unlocked something in me. And I started doing a lot of research to understand brilliant and brilliance. Well, you don't go very
Mm.
far unless you stumble upon a diamond. And as I began to
Yes.
study about a diamond, as you know, a diamond is formed through heat, pressure, and change. And when I realized the heat and the pressure and the change that I was going through, I recognized that everyone has brilliance in them, but they have to tap into the DNA system that causes them
Mhm.
to thrive and reach their full potential. So there are people listening to us right now. You are a diamond or diamond in the rough. But what allows you to reach your full potential is the environment. Every diamond is put into a setting. And in that setting, we begin to understand the color, the carat, the cut, right, of the diamond. And as we begin to understand the setting or the environment, as the light hits it, as strife and worry and things that happen in life hits that diamond, it shines from the inside
Yes.
out. So that's how the whole
Yes.
diamond came to be for me.